what is the difference between Madness and Mayhem? In Magic terms at the very least. Well, Madness ignores timing restrictions. Whenever you discard a Madness card, you can cast it. Where Mayhem, you need to follow timing restrictions. You can't discard a creature on someone else's turn and cast it with Mayhem. Second, Madness is cast from exile. When you discard a card, it goes into exile until you choose not to cast it, then goes to your graveyard. Where with Mayhem, it goes to your graveyard and you cast it from the graveyard. They both have their own unique synergies with cast from exile and cast from graveyard. And thirdly, you must cast a Madness card right away. If you choose not to immediately cast a Madness card, the Madness trigger goes on the stack before any spells that make you discard the card, well, it's gone. Your chance is gone, and that card goes into the graveyard. Where with Mayhem, if you discard a card, say, in your upkeep, you can choose to cast that Mayhem card anytime you're, timing-wise, allowed to cast it that turn. So think of this like Cascade and Explore, a fixed version of a mechanic. But just how fixed is it, and how can we break it? And the best way to do that is with Norman Osborn, aka Green Goblin. And much like Eddie Brock and Venom, there's a clear winner as to which side of this coin is best. Norman is a conniving little sneak, perfectly encapsulated in his front half, but his back half, Green Goblin, is the gold mine. Since Mayhem is cast from your graveyard, just like, say, Flashback, Green Goblin makes that super cheap and gets you all the great synergies. And granting any card in your graveyard Mayhem is even better, and gets us real value when discarding to pay costs. It even further breaks symmetry of effects that make everyone discard cards. But the real reason I think this is so great is that you get to synergize with effects like Secrets of the Dead or Burning Vengeance to go, well, as crazy as Norman is. So I've used this to put together a $45 budget build your own precon, excluding the currently inflated cost of your commander himself, called, aptly, Mayhem and Madness, all about discarding cards for fun and profit while driving your opponents mad as well. Before I get too far in, do you prefer the Spider-Man version of the card or the Universes Within version? Everyone on socials is going flame crazy, so let me know in the comments which version you'd like to see more. I want to start off by saying the fastest way to break Mayhem is to give your spells flash. High Fae Trickster, Valley Flood Caller, and Leyline of Anticipation. I'm mentioning these here because, unfortunately, these are cards that fall outside of my chosen budget for the deck. We will look at them again during the upgrade. Now, one of the interesting things with the Goblin is that he, himself, does not discard cards, just synergizes with things that discard cards. So you need to pack the deck with discard enablers. Those the likes of Ghostly Pilferer, Inti, or Malcolm, each triggering at will, on attack, or on combat damage to get you a variety of potential triggers. This extends to the new Spider-Man cards like Doc Ock's Henchman, Shriek, or Ultimate Green Goblin, with mandatory or optional discards tacked onto them. Since Ultimate Green Goblin also has Mayhem, he's a great way to pay some of these costs to rummage cards away for new ones, but not lose resources. That's kind of the name of the game here. Looting with a Vohar, wheeling with a Magus of the Wheel, or discarding to a Necrogoyf. They all get us value, as what we pay from the graveyard costs less with our commander out. We see tons of cards, trigger all of our synergies, and pay less for spells than our opponents ever would. Neat. We also have the granddaddy of all free discard outlets, Scourge Familiar, in the list. Not only does he let us control when we're discarding cards, but also makes us a mana for doing it. Nothing like an enabler that also pays for our spells too, eh? We also pack redundancy for our commander, as redundancy means consistency. Emmett's Psyche doubles Norman's cost from the graveyard reducer while helping us make more use of instants and sorceries, while Oscar Rubbish Reclaimer essentially gives cards in our graveyard a hybrid of Mayhem and Madness as well, letting us cast them from the yard on turns they were discarded. They have to be cast right away and ignore timing restrictions, but do count as cast from the graveyard for some of our synergies. And we really want to be wheeling a whole bunch in this deck to give us more cheap spells to cast and refill our hands. But with Wheel of Misfortune and Wheel of Fortune being both expensive, big, flashy cards, how do we do it on a budget? Well, Anya's Ravager is a great option, a mini wheel on attack each turn, letting us cast whatever we discard on the cheap. Snort is a new wheel with Flashback that also punishes our opponents for taking the bait. I like this one since casting it a second time costs the exact same thanks to Green Goblin's discount. And Decaying Time Loop is an instant speed personal wheel with Retrace, meaning you can keep doing it over and over again. As long as you can keep your hand full with some of our other synergies, this becomes a freebie. Then there's all of our rummage card draw. Brass's Tunnel Grinder, Cathartic Reunion, Demand Answers, along with Thrill of Possibility, Big Score, and Unexpected Windfall. All doing exactly what we want them to do, discarding cards and refilling our hands, plus some. And we loot too. Careful Study, Frantic Search, and Prismari Command all let us see new cards before choosing what to discard, giving us the best option of free spells to cast whenever we want or need to. Excellent for picking and choosing spells trapped in your hand. And naturally, we get a ton of synergy here, from discarding cards and from casting them back from our graveyards. If we're casting from our graveyard, we can draw cards with Secrets of the Dead, deal damage with a Burning Vengeance, or make creatures with the Lost and the Damned, all meaning when we cast Mayhem spells, we profit. But a great overlap here is Shadow of the Goblin, an enchantment that lets us both loot during our upkeep, and when we cast a spell from anywhere other than our hands, we deal damage. Madness and Mayhem are included in this, and pinging everybody is a great way to deal non-combat damage. River Kelpie also loves to see us cast cards from the graveyard, drawing a card whenever anyone has a permanent enter from the yard or cast a spell from the yard, which means, bonus, if we Mayhem a permanent spell into play, we draw 2 cards. That's a recipe for infinite loops. Cryptcaller Chariot is also a pro include as well, since discarding cards makes you bodies. If you combine this with Lost and the Damned, discarding and casting a spell with Mayhem puts 5 power worth of bodies on the board. Sometimes it's worth it just to pitch your entire hand at instant speed to untap with an extra 14 or so power on the battlefield. But it doesn't stop there. We're packed with more synergies that'll make you feel like Rita Repulsa and Make My Monster Grow. Marauding Mako, Hobgoblin, and Scrounging Skyray all get bigger when you discard cards, making, sometimes, for surprise beaters that can easily be the biggest thing on the board for only 1 to 2 mana. Inti grows our creatures but also gets us extra card advantage when we pitch cards, creating an impulse draw that lasts until our next end step, which also synergizes with everything that cares about casting cards from anywhere other than our hands. And one of my all-time favorites, Archfiend of Ifnir, puts -1/-1 counters on everything our opponents control when we discard cards. I have seen this demon be, well, an absolute demon on the battlefield, sometimes creating soft locks with repeated wheel effects if it's not removed in short order. And I cannot shout out synergies without part of your infinite combo engines, Magmakin Artillerist, Glinthorn Buccaneer, and Brawlin Skyshark Rider. Famously, these creatures combo with any on-damage card draw effects like Curiosity or Tandem Lookout. Ophidian Eye is now like $1 million, so wait to see it in The Upgrade. But what happens here is, if you suit up Magmakin, Glinthorn, or Brawlin with one of these effects, they draw cards whenever you damage opponents no matter how they deal damage, so discarding a card nets you 3 extra cards provided all of your opponents are still alive. If you have an at-will discard engine, you win the game as long as you have more cards in your library than your highest life total opponent. Easy! You don't even need the discard outlet if you move to your cleanup step with more than 7 cards in hand either. You're forced to discard to hand size, dealing damage, drawing back up over 7, and since you're still in cleanup, you discard down again, pinging the table until they lose or you run out of cards in your library. I absolutely love this deck, and not in a drive me or my opponents crazy kind of way, but in a way that's a cheap, synergistic brew that can grind out value or combo off and win. Even if you're just accidentally casting free mana rocks once in a while, it feels real good to have an advantage engine and a synergy multiplier in the command zone. But can we make it feel even better? Let's look at The Upgrade. Starting with, as mentioned at the top, Flash Enablers. High Fate Trickster, Valley Floodcaller, and Leyline of Anticipation allow you to discard and cast anything on opponents' turns, which is a nice sneaky way to sometimes get a full combo into play for like 3 mana at instant speed. It lets you win over the top of somebody else's combo if you're nasty like that. If you do want to find room for these, I'd recommend cutting slower synergy pieces like Faith of the Devoted, subpar discard outlets like Doc Ock's Henchman, or sometimes bad interaction like Circular Logic. Then Ophidian Eye. Another redundancy piece makes your combo more reliable, but this is closer to $20 at time of recording. Insane! Get this in the deck in place of Alien Symbiote, which is a neat sometimes enabler, but should be replaced with an always good card. If you're looking at upgrading your discard outlets, Psychic Frog is the best and warrants a spot in the deck too. I'd axe Shriek for the Frog, since it's an at-will discard, card draw engine, and evasive beater all the time. And if you want to increase that synergy even more, there's Monument to Endurance, hands down one of the best cards from Aether Drift. Free value for doing what we're already doing? Yes, please! If you could safely cut one land from the list for this card, you'd be in a good spot. But if I catch you cutting any more lands than that, you'll be in trouble. So take this list and go cause some mayhem in your playgroup. I'd love to know what changes you'd make to the list and what you were brewing with the Green Goblin. Let me know in those comments. And don't leave without checking out my sponsors like Card Conduit. They are hands down the easiest way to sell your individual Magic cards without the hassle of traditional buy listing. They'll get you top dollar while handling all of the heavy lifting, from sorting to grading to optimizing your price across a huge network of vendors. And they'll give you cold hard cash for it. You can use the promo code MECHANIC right now for 10% off of all fees. If you're looking for a new deck box or playmat for any of your favorite Commander decks, make sure to check out Bonebox Games. These strong and gorgeous deck boxes are the only ones I trust to protect my triple-sleeved, all-foil Too Many Gyrudas deck. You can use my code MECHANIC5 for 5% off your order at boneboxgames.com. And while you're there, take a look at their classic Decay deck box, now back in stock. Bonebox Games, gear with a backbone. And if you want to pick up the cards for this list, make sure to go check out Card Trader. Use my promo code MECHANIC right now for 5% off your order from any TCG. Card Trader's zero system means you can get cards from all over the world with only one shipping fee. Save money and time today. Lastly, you can check out all of my decks on MOXFIELD. MOXFIELD is the best deck building platform in the world and makes it easy to build decks and search for specific cards with their powerful tools. Have you checked out their drag and drop feature yet? It's revolutionary. Be sure to check out my brews and follow my profile there right now. If you were inspired to brew today, you have to hit that subscribe button. Check out this other deck on my channel right now for more sweet tech. And as always folks, good luck and have fun.